An alleged Russian hacker accused of targeting the United States could now face extradition to the U.S. Police in the Czech Republic arrested the suspect 2 weeks ago with help from the FBI. Video of his arrest has just been made public. In fact, his name has not yet been released. Now, this comes amid concerns that Russian hackers are trying to influence the United States election, now just 20 days away. For more on the threat then posed by hackers, I'm joined by Dmitri Alperovitch. He's the co-founder of CrowdStrike, which is the cyber firm that identified Russia in the hack of the Democratic National Committee, albeit something that one of the candidates for president still refuses to officially accept. Dmitri, very much appreciate the time, and so very much to get to here. First, the reaction to this arrest of this hacker in Prague. What do you make of it, particularly the fact that the FBI assisted in getting it done?
Well, my understanding is that this individual is not at all related to the DNC hacks. In fact, it appears to be kind of an ordinary criminal that was engaged in some cybercrime activity and was tracked for a number of years and left Russia to go on vacation to the Czech Republic, and they took advantage of that opportunity and picked him up. Now,
I know CrowdStrike was early in on the DNC hack, identifying it as Russian state actors, military hackers, in fact, and the vast majority of the intelligence community now agrees with that. What is the end game, though, for Russia? Is it something specific, or is it? Do you think they're just looking to cast doubt on the process as a whole?
Well, I think it's actually very insidious. They're trying to influence the process and get a percentage of the American public to actually disbelieve that the process is free and fair. Mm-hmm. They're trying to, and they've been putting out statements to this effect for a number of months now, that the election is rigged, that the process is rigged, the elites in Washington are sort of corrupt, and the leaks that they've been putting out, the emails and the documents, they're trying to make the case that this is all confirms that. And this is helpful for President Putin for two reasons. One, it weakens whoever gets elected and becomes American president, which is always good for Russia. And then domestically it helps him because whenever he's criticized for running rigged elections, he can point to the United States and say, see, they can't run a free and fair election either. They're living in the glass house and throwing stones.
What do you make, then, of Donald Trump's refusal thus far to officially acknowledge that which everyone else seems to accept, that this is Russia acting here, that as it regards perhaps his alleged coziness with Vladimir Putin, or certainly Putin's policies, there have been ties, links shown between advisors to the Trump campaign and the Kremlin. What do you make of Trump's refusal thus far to acknowledge that, not that this is happening, but at least that this is Russia doing it?
Well, it's unclear, but his Mike Pence, his vice presidential candidate, in fact, did acknowledge it and is coming out for pretty strong action against Russia. And what's been encouraging is that there have been a bipartisan support now in Congress with both Democrats and Republicans standing up and saying this is unacceptable. Russia is trying to influence our election, cast doubt on the entire process. We cannot stand for this.
And you know, the word "trying" is being used here in the last couple of weeks, especially, but haven't, in a way, they already succeeded? 76% of adults are either somewhat or very concerned that hackers could influence the election. Again, they have influenced the election at this point, have they not?
I believe they have. And the reality is that it's actually very, very difficult to hack the election. Most of these machines are not connected to the internet. A lot of them are not even electronic. We remember back in 2000, the Chads. A lot of those machines are still in place. So they're not hackable. And so the reality is that it's almost impossible for them to actually influence the result. But it's not impossible for them to get the American public, or a percentage of the American public, to believe that the result may have been influenced. And I believe that is their end goal. I think it's very likely that on the day after the election, we will see some sort of statement coming out from these actors that have been affiliated with the Russians, whether it's DC Leaks or this Guccifer 2.0 persona, coming out and saying, do not trust the result. Whoever is elected is not the legitimate president because we have hacked machines in Miami-Dade County or Columbus, Ohio, whatever.
Which is rhetoric we have not heard in this country since 1860. I mean, this has actually made the Civil War era relevant in this discussion. Also, we've now seen of late Julian Assange in asylum at the Ecuadorian embassy in England. He's essentially had his internet cut off. Somebody referred to it today like a teenager whose parents have turned off their internet
by the Ecuadorian government.
What do you make of WikiLeaks' participation here as it regards what we have seen with regard to the John Podesta emails, the Clinton campaign chairman, who was also hacked?
Well, we know for a fact that some of the WikiLeaks releases have come from the Russian hacks. Who gave it to them, we don't know. What level of collaboration there exists, if any, we don't know. But certainly some of the information was stolen by the Russians from the DNC and the DCCC, and then ended up on WikiLeaks.
Get you out here on this one. What then can the U.S. do by way of response? The term cyber warfare has been used. It would seem then this is obviously the front line of the war, perhaps still to come. What can and what do you expect the U.S. to do?
Well, I think there are two things, what the U.S. government should do and what organizations should do individually that may be coming under these attacks. From a U.S. government perspective, we need to stop thinking of this as a cyber incident. This is Russia influencing the election. It just so happens that it's been done mostly through cyber. Yeah. But Russia needs to be confronted on this. We have various mechanisms, diplomatic sanctions, even military options that can be looked at in a totality of our relationship, whether it's in terms of what Russia is doing in Syria or in the Baltics, doing very dangerous overflights of our ships. So we have to look at how we're going to confront Vladimir Putin and make sure that he understands this is unacceptable. In terms of the private sector, they're going to come under continued attacks, as we have seen throughout this year, from Russian-sponsored hackers and perhaps even other actors. And every organization, I believe, needs to do three things. One, they need to do compromise assessment, kind of assume that you're already compromised and make sure that your network is clean. They need to make sure they have full visibility into all of their systems, and then they need to actually proactively hunt for the adversary. This is a different mentality where you're not waiting for an alarm to go off, but you're assuming that someone's already on the inside, and you're looking with a flashlight under every desk and every corner trying to find the attackers.
How seismic a shift will that be for the private sector?
I think it's a significant shift because up to this point, a lot of the private sector has not really dealt with the Russian government. They have not dealt with nation states. In fact, it's one of the first times on our soil we're fighting nation states in the private sector. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty unheard of.
I wish we had hours on end. Dmitri, I can guarantee you this will not be the last time you join us if we have our way. Dmitri
Thanks so much.
Alperovitch, we really appreciate the time.
Thank you.